around the Raptors, and then they get the mid inhib, and then Gori gets picked around the Raptors, and then the game's over. And that was a shocking end to that game for how quick it came after Golden Guardians had a lead just a couple minutes beforehand. And I think for Team Liquid's side, I think they're also just slamming comfort. Like, it's weird to see so many power picks go over to Golden Guardians, but Team Liquid are executing on their champs.
I mean, TL has won 2 games now where we said they kind of had the worst draft or the more flippy draft, the more explosive draft, so maybe they just know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely we'll see if they make any adaptations in the second phase this year, but otherwise, you would think that Golden Guardians are just going to slam Maokai Rumble again as well.
I was going to say, I think if they don't pick Viego or Neeko on 2-3, then one of them will get banned on 4-5, so if they want to run back the Viego-Neeko, I think it's smart to pick it here and then just pick another support for core.
I also like moving up the Viego priority. They went 4-5 in both Game 1 and Game 2, but after a pentakill, hard carry 11-kill game, they're probably going to ban it in their second phase, so you won't get it on 4-5. So Pyosik raises the priority on it here, saying, give me this, I'm vibing myself, I want some more.
One thing to note here, Golden Guardians, this is the first time Xayah has made it through the first round of bans, as Team Liquid wanting to snipe away that Azir, just making sure that they have less control, but now you have the Lovers Duo combo between Huhi and Stixxay. This offers a lot more protection, a lot more self-heal for Stixxay.
I'm curious to see now for Golden Guardians, because I expect TL to ban either Rumble or Maokai and kind of remove the combo with Tristana. So I assume River has to play something like the Ivern. I'm not sure what AP champ Licorice has, if he has another AP top laner. Maybe something like the Gwen. But their comp might be very AD focused here for GG.
I think if Team Liquid's drafting tendency stays the same, though, it's okay to be a little overloaded on AD, because so far the only like tanky member that they've had in any of these games has been Core. And so if the support's the one stacking armor, you're kind of like, whatever. And I think we'll have to see how TL round out their comp. But otherwise, it looks like it's going to be another bruisery carry for Summit and tank only for Core.
Yeah, I think Licorice might also be looking for the cannon. I think cannon is something that plays really well into these champs that want to dive into him. So I could easily see him playing cannon and then River going for basically any champ that he wants. I think a tanky jungler would be pretty nice. Maybe something like the Sejuani, not that good of a pairing with cannon, but it's very good for the topside Herald in general. So TL, I think, yeah, Core, tank engage, Summit, Bruiser, Fighter. That's kind of the recipe for them.
Right, and even though Tristana and Rakan are still similar from Game 2, their abilities allow them to disengage fights just as well as follow up on engages, and already it seems like anti-dive is going to be the theme for Golden Guardians, as they just want to withstand the onslaught that Team Liquid will be bringing to them, as they're potentially looking at a Leona counter pick here.
Renata would be interesting given the range that Golden Guardians have right now. They don't have to commit to playing a dive composition, and usually you see Renata as kind of like this counter-engage stuff of a dive. Okay, yeah, that's why it goes Nautilus.
Yeah, Nautilus makes more sense. They do need to go in with their comp. Their first 3 is basically screaming, we're gonna dive you. Nautilus helps that, so any anti-dive champions here for Golden Guardians would do the job. I really think Cannon as an AP top laner here would be really good. For jungle, I think there's a lot of options. Ksante works perfectly fine, but then you're very AD heavy. So maybe there's an AP jungle here that River has.
Let's see what he ends up going. For Team Liquid, this is also the 3rd game in a row on red side, and 3rd game in a row that Summit will have counterpick into Licorice. It does feel like they've hard committed to this is the identity we're going to play as, and they do have, again, on blue side, a lot of power picks in the meta. Again, the only one Team Liquid really has is the Kaisa, but that's how they've been playing all series, and it's been working out on red side. Heavy focus on counter pick and dive.
And while you noted here, Treats, that this is a lot of physical damage coming out from Golden Guardians, doesn't seem like there's any true tanks from Team Liquid's side, so the benefit for them that they're not going to have to deal with a lot of armor stacking from Team Liquid's composition is it's mostly bruisers and squishies.
Yeah, I think the comps are very similar to last game. I think TL just doubled down on the dive fight, and GG kind of doubled down on the we're tanky front to back. I think they got a bit less flexibility in the early game from the side of GG, but I think that their team fights are even stronger than last game, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's so dangerous trying to force your fight into Xayah as she's racking up those feathers. And if she gets a massive pull with the Blade Caller, then she can easily turn and reverse the momentum. But as we're getting ready to round off both of these compositions here, that Jack's being locked in for Summit, that is always a flexible threat, as it can either win the split push war against Ksante if it gets ahead, or can link up with the rest of Team Liquid.
Yeah, double up marksman also is some time where it feels pretty good. But I think more importantly for me is the fact that he is one of the, I believe, the only reigning world champion we had ever gotten right after they won the championship. And a lot of people saw that as we have a bit of a dicey level 1 here. Might have to hold my point.
Nicely scouted there by AP.
Yeah, they were able to find that one after, I believe, Huhi probably W'd the wall into that brush, setting up a potential play there. But what I was going to say is Pyosik was signed, and a lot of people saw him and thought he was maybe the least important member of a World Championship winning team, and Team Liquid just splashed for the big name, and that's why they signed him, and it's just like a name signing. And then he had a rough spring split, and it didn't really do much to dissuade that narrative from taking a hold. And it's just really, really cool to see Pyosik actually dominating in this series, showing that like he is legitimate. There's a reason that Team Liquid picked him up and making the game about his Viego.
An overall glow up in the summer split as well, where he was able to actually link up a lot of his early game plans to what the rest of Team Liquid needed from him, putting a lot more focus in snowballing Summit, who is one of your stronger carries in this lineup as well. And once APA came onto the roster, they have both shared the same vision multiple times throughout the summer split and playoffs here.
And now, obviously, if TL wins this one, they're going to Worlds. There's a lot riding on this, and they're playing one of the most aggressive comps I've seen in recent league history. So they definitely have a lot of pressure on them to perform in this one. And GG is kind of taking the easy way out here and just kind of saying, okay, we're just gonna scale. We're gonna play front to back. We're gonna have an easy chill game, and it's up to you guys to kind of win the game. And I think that's gonna prove a lot here for TL. If they can close this one out, it puts a lot of pressure for the finals weekend.
I'll also say though, it's a little disappointing, I guess, as we see Licorice getting slapped around a little bit here. No ability for someone to find the solo kill. He loves looking for him, but it's a little disappointing because they were in Spring Split, the team with the crazy flex picks, the really aggressive drafts, doing really cool stuff to make that push to finals weekend. And here, after having their best regular season ever, tied for first place, it's shocking to see them potentially getting swept out of playoffs in 4th place, not making finals weekend even potentially. That would be just stunning for this organization, where it was finally their best split ever, but having a really rough go of this playoffs.
Still a chance for them, as they would have to do the impossible of being able to win 3 games in a row. Pyosik is going to find River here in the bush. Level 3 Viego against level 3 Sejuani. Viego favorite here for the skirmish as River gets his 1 burst combo and gets out.
Yeah, I think Viego's favored in the long fight, and River knows that, so he just procs the stun, Aftershock, walks away. It's really, really smart there by River. When I played this jungle matchup on the Viego side, I never liked it because it felt like you could never really kill the Sejuani, and she could always poke in, walk out, and in general, there's a bit of bot lane fighting here as well.
Potential all-in. Stixxay was trying to look for the feathers on Yeon, but Yeon was dancing around them as he finally steps back in and gets blade called. So equal HP advantage for both sides here.
No potions though for Yeon or Stixxay, but Stixxay has the Doran's Blade and Rakan sustain, so they're favored in this lane state. So it will be interesting to see if both junglers will come down here for a 3v3, or looks like River is gonna walk over a ward, but they saw that ward, so he should know that he can't walk into the bush there.
Yeah, just covering in case Pyosik came down for a gank momentarily, knowing that Pyosik did just contest him on that red buff. He'll still be on the bot side of the map there. And both bot lanes do have their Scooby snacks to heal up with, so it should be fine after that trade.
As you called out, Pyosik was there in case they needed a counter gank, but Yeon is going to get the early reset here, finding that CoreJJ shard, a little bit of extra pushing power here, as CoreJJ still trying to stay around to make sure that the wave doesn't completely crash.
It's kind of a flipped game from last game. TL had the wave in a predicament state, and now it's the side of Golden Guardians who really needs to shove this in, and they're not sure where Viego is, so I think they just kind of have to flip it and go for the big push here and then the double reset. That's one thing that's really nice with Rakan, is that you can just ask the Rakan, stand in the lane and base, and then let the Xayah join you and kind of get a free tempo that way. And looks like Huhi's gonna join up here with Stixxay and just take the back.
And now Yeon and CoreJJ have a moment to see if they can establish presence in the lane, link it somewhere else. Dragon's coming up in the next 15 seconds, but Pyosik is spotted on these Raptor camps as River's trying to yoink these chicken nuggets away. Neither of them able to get the camp so far. Pyosik wanting to see if he can dance with him, but APA is pinned on the tower by Gori, so APA cannot link up with his jungler either.
Yeah, nice pressure that Golden Guardians are using around the mid lane to get some jungle contest down. And Gori's someone who I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of if Golden Guardians are going to make a push for a reverse sweep here. He's had good lane phases. He's been up CS kind of, but he needs to be making a lot more plays. He's someone who has been so important for Golden Guardians' success.
Oh, they're looking for it. CoreJJ is getting engaged upon Gori jumping in over the wall with the jump, and Pyosik is forced to flash. A lot of force being shown by Golden Guardians.
I mean, Golden Guardians had a ward on the Raptors, and I don't think TL realized. Core was kind of sneaking in there and being like the extra man in his head, but obviously Golden Guardians was playing with perfect vision there, and that's why River queued in and procced this Aftershock. So smart use of vision there for Golden Guardians, and once again, kind of a small lead.
I forces the teleport out of APA. He didn't burn Flash, but now there's summoner advantage for Gori, and he has a moment to see if he can look for a collapse on bottom side of the map. He's just going to look for a reset instead, seemingly. Dragon has not been contested by either team whatsoever, and it seems like Golden Guardians might have the better setup so far.
Yeah, Licorice just used his ult in a 1v1. I'm not sure if he even got a good trade out of that. Maybe it was to escape, because Summit was going to get a good trade, but no ult here for Licorice, and Summit has a pretty good wave state here, so for Herald, the conditions are going to be pretty nice on the side of TL.
See if they want to go for it, or if they'll just try and make some plays. Feels like Team Liquid has made a lot of their biggest gains through just straight up playmaking in this series. A lot of team fights that just suddenly explosively go their way, and I think they're pretty happy to just chill out for a minute or two until APA gets his 6, Core gets his 6, and all that, because if you're just standing there against double marksman and no one has any good engage tools, it's like, hey, I'll take the marksman side of that trade.
Yeah, if you're the team that's forced to win early game, I think the easiest win condition is just stacking dragons. So I like to see that TL is going for an early dragon this game and kind of just winning from there, because if you don't have dragons or the Herald pressure and you're not up in gold, it's hard to force fights. But if you're on the 3 dragon point and then GG is forced to fight you, it puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah, you get to see the classic 7-minute dragon on second blue buff spawn on the blue side of the map. It's an age-old trick. You know that they're probably going to be going up to cycle their camps. You just go ahead and force that one down. They had the pressure as well, so easy dragon control for Team Liquid there.
I was definitely surprised thinking that without Flash, Pyosik would be in more danger, but yeah, as you called it, being able to sneak that dragon on the timer that River was not expecting. Rift Herald is coming up in the next 30 seconds here, though. Maybe Golden Guardians, off of their level 6 spikes, can make a play for this one instead.
Yeah, Summit will have a back advantage here because of the fat wave he stacked. He got the Sheen on this bias, which is really good for the Herald fight. But River has ult and Pyosik has no flash, so it's kind of dangerous for Pyosik to walk into his topside jungle here.
And they have a control ward right in that bush up above red buff here. River is just going to look for the quick steal before Pyosik can cruise right on over, since he is spotted on these raptors, and River should be able to make the clean heist.
I like that play out of Golden Guardians and Team Liquid. You saw the fact that they now collapse onto the Rift Herald for free. They lost control of their top side of the map going for that dragon, and Pyosik knew he was only level 6, or level 5, excuse me, didn't want to face check his red buff, so he just takes the raptors, and once Golden Guardians sees that, they grab the red buff and then fall back onto the Rift Herald.
I think Golden Guardians is getting a bit too much here. I think TL should force a fight on bot side, because bot lane shifted up. They got mid push as 3, and they got the Herald, and then they also walked back to bot lane safely, so I think TL here can't really be satisfied just getting 1 plate on bot. They're not even going to get 1 plate. They actually don't get anything from this, so GG was really fast with the response, but I would have liked at least TL to kind of go aggressively through mid towards bot there to contest, because now they just gave up Herald to a team that's weaker in the early game while also not having a clear response.
The one nice thing there was APA forcing the flash out of Gori. His E almost came through, and then you can expect probably a chain CC follow-up from Pyosik with a flash W. Actually, his flash was still down, maybe alt W or something, but just didn't want to risk that one, so nice for Team Liquid to grab that, but like you said, for the most part, Golden Guardians got a very nice trade there, punishing Team Liquid for the investment that it took to get that dragon.
And there's an opportunity now to punish the mid lane. Without a flash, Gori, the only way he can escape is through Buster Shot or Rocket Jump, but if you can clip him with the Pop Blossom, you might just be able to get enough burst damage between you and Pyosik for that kill. But River already setting up proactive vision and trying to sniff where Pyosik is and forcing him out, and this will give some protective vision control for Gori.
Nice cancel there by River, and AP has no TP as well, so he's kind of forced to stay here, and now GG is winning, and they're just going to drop the Herald money here for Gori. I think that's really smart. If Gori gets early Merc Treads, the kill pressure on him goes down a lot, so they're just going to pressure mid tower here with the Herald, chunk it down to almost 1 plate left, maybe gets it with Tristana. It's kind of close. It has a lot of armor and MR after charge like that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change from game 2. Before, Gori and APA's lanes weren't really that affected, and they just relied on a little bit of CS lead for Gori, but this time they are really trying to hammer that snowball in.
Well, it's also less of an attacking Summit game plan. It felt like the first 2 games there was a lot of resources invested there. Here it's a lot more about mid lane, which is something I think will spill over better for the side of Golden Guardians. I think Summit is someone who, Jet had some stats that he was showing off where, like, whether ahead or behind, Summit was winning 50% of his games. It didn't matter whether he got super ahead or not, at least mostly during the regular season. So I think, while, yeah, he is a coin flippy and sometimes he dies, I think there are more important members of the Team Liquid map to hold down, such as if you can abuse APA's potential weaker laning phase and continue to grow that CS lead, turn that into turret plates, spill that over into bot lane or something like that.
And it makes sense too. You want to target the members that have less stage experience. We already know that APA has a history from the previous series of being nervous and when the things are getting rougher for him in the in these first couple of games. Thankfully for Team Liquid, they've won the first 2, and they have a little bit of a barrier so that even if Golden Guardians pull a surprise win, there's still more room to play with in the series.
Yeah, it's been kind of a strange series in the sense of GG were kind of favored to win both games, but TL really just found the switch in mid-game and kind of found their way to win the game in a very short amount of time, which is really impressive in itself. But I think that's why we see a very similar draft from GG once again. I think they're very confident with how they played the early game, and they know that they should win from the game state that they were in. And coming into this third game now, I think they have kind of the same lead as they did last game. It's a 1.2k or so, but they only have 1 dragon on TL side, so they're still sitting pretty happy here on Golden Guardians.
Yep. Still feeling pretty good in the game, but I do think the TL mid game much improved from the regular season, especially after APA joined.
For sure.
You were kind of talking about that, Raafaa, where his joining the roster, it's so strange because you can see in comms, you hear they talk about it, he doesn't have the biggest voice on the team. So why did their mid game get so much better with him? And it's just the way he plays the game out. And while he did have nerves for that first series that he played, I think he's done a very good job of bouncing back. It's very understandable for a young kid like him to be suddenly not only playing on the LCS stage, but playoff matches, to make worlds and all this kind of stuff. But since then, he's been emoting his head off. He's making fun of people in chat. He's tweeting at people, and he's playing with a level of confidence you don't always see.
Yeon might be in trouble here, though. Cut off by River, but he has CoreJJ. Be able to assist him on the escape route. They want to turn this fight, but it's a 3v2, and they're a little nice dodge by Killer Instinct on Yeon. Is able to dodge out on the re-engage, but CoreJJ still falls, and Licorice is going to cut him off here with the all-out. The rest of Team Liquid have to bail out Yeon, but it looks like that he's not getting bailed out. Maybe Pyosik can look for resets. He's already on the Xayah, looking for the Blade Caller, but Gori's going to collapse, and it's a 2-on-4 for Team Liquid. It's really difficult for them to play out. Golden Guardians have the damage. Here comes ABA Pop Blossom. Does this one turn it around? Pyosik is looking for more damage, but he gets knocked out by River, and ABA just doesn't have any more gas in the tank to fight it on back. Golden Guardians with a huge fight.
There was no magic this time for Team Liquid. You saw the angle potentially of Pyosik. He might have had the resets coming, but it started too poorly for their side. Just a huge jump on top of CoreJJ, instantly dead before the rest of the team collapses. Once they get here, you think maybe there's an angle. It takes a little bit too long to kill Stixxay. They're able to finish off Yeon during that time period. And here with APA showing up during the backside of the fight, if they could find someone, but an absolutely huge stopwatch that stopped Pyosik from getting this reset on his ultimate by Huhi there, leaves him stranded on that side of the fight and really stops the reset from Pyosik.
And the MarkZ there from Huhi also saved another reset. He managed to get out after the Pop Blossom and deny Pyosik the reset and ends up with an ace for Golden Guardians. That was a huge fight.
And just like that, 4,000 gold in the lead for Golden Guardians.
Wow.
This is one of the largest leads we've had this early on into the game. Now the question becomes, can Golden Guardians maintain this? Because in game 2, once they had that huge lead, something happened to Riot, and then Team Liquid were able to bounce on back. They still have the explosiveness potential. The test is for Golden Guardians. Can they maintain it?
Golden Guardians last game had a Xayah and Rumble as their squishy champs. Now they have Ksante and Xayah. So I think for TL in the team fights, it's a bit harder to find these resets for Pyosik, which is why I think even more so than the last game, it's a very heavy dive comp versus a very disengage heavy comp, and it just favors Golden Guardians if they're ahead. Disengage always outscales in general, and with a goalie like this and with the carries being fed as they are, it's looking really good here for Golden Guardians.
Potential jump onto Yeon.
And he's locked up, and he has no sums from before. Even the Killer Instinct shield, he should go down as Stixxay finds one more feather. Takes out the tier 1 turret as well. APA finding the collapse on Gori with Pyosik. They're able to answer 1 for 1. And Summon and Licorice, are they going to have a dance too? Not quite. Rift Herald being started up by Rivers. The rest of Golden Guardians collapse.
Didn't quite see what happened off screen there, but I'm guessing based off that turret HP, that was Gori greeting to try and finish that off and didn't quite have enough damage. As a Tristana, you got to blow up the turret, your demolitionist. The bloodlust takes over, and unfortunately got punished there. But again, at the same time, Golden Guardians making a play at the mid lane, able to grab that turret. A little bit of breathing room for Team Liquid, but they're losing their Rift Herald at the same time.
I think Gori can TP down to this bot tower if he wants to. I'm not sure if they actually have enough damage to take down. Maybe he'll just save it anyway and give the tower, because looking like he's toppling TP instead.
Summon doesn't have flash. We need another Leap Strike to get out of harm's way. Using Counter-Strike to dodge a lot of the incoming damage. Still gets forced off by the explosive charge. Team Liquid do find that tier 1 turret on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, the fact that they had overloaded the bot side during that Rift Herald take means that Gori actually goes TP top to finish that push off while Licorice goes for the reset. Nice little macro play there.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted one tower, right? He couldn't get the bot one, so he just TP's top. Pretty simple. Simple
He's
map.
like, if I'm not going to get that one. Yeah, we'll see it here. Just aggressively positioning forward, trying to get there. The minion wave kind of gets cleared out, ends up with Pyosik on that side of the map.
Yeah, it's a clear case of jungle death.
True. If only he could have known that running behind the enemy turret could result in his death.
Yeah, they lost a lot of creeps there actually from Gori dying. I think they lost like 20 CS on bot. But at least they got the top tower, so it ended up being pretty even, and the bot tower is in reach again for Gori to go and bomb it this time.
Also did get the Rift Herald during that exchange as well, so still a trade up for Golden Guardians at the end of the day, but Team Liquid on the back foot. I really liked your call out about how much harder it is actually to reset through this Golden Guardians team comp with the extra bit of not tankiness, but safety, I guess, of the Golden Guardian side with the Ksante instead and the Xayah to jump up in the air. I thought without the Maokai maybe it'd be easier, but you know, Sejuani still packs plenty of healing.
Yeah, it's not the same level of anti-dive and disengage with the Tenacious Grasp, but you can still stun the first turret that is trying to make your way through the front line of Golden Guardians, and as you called out, Featherstorm makes it pretty difficult for any champions trying to assassinate, which is like why Viego, even though his Bruiser kind of acts like an assassin as you're just trying to look for low targets popping off, can't really do that as Stixxay is invulnerable.
Yeah, and I don't really see a way for TL to kind of find angles right now. I think what happened last game was that they got a bit over-aggressive and TL kind of TP flanked and went for the fight like that, so that's kind of the way that TL has to find these advantages. I think they're looking for cheats from Summit. Looks like they'll go for it.
They waited for Summit to use the Counter-Strike, and now he's forced to use Flash and Leap Strike away. Huhi, all he had to burn was Quickness and Ignite, and that's a worthy trade.
Yeah, gets the flash out of Summit there. Going to make it a little bit harder for Team Liquid in these fights. Fortunately for them, it's only one Dragon on the side of Golden Guardian, so they're not forced to fight immediately.
Oh, wait a minute. This might be... I mean, he's really tanky. There's no way that Licorice goes down here, right?
Over the wall, surely.
10 HP. Oh, yeah. Nice. The flash reposition, and now he's isolated Pyosik, and now a lot of damage coming out from Licorice's side, but he's still able to get out. Here's the reset from the Heartbreaker. Is it enough damage? One more Q. It is. And Gori's now here for the cleanup, but now he's a tanky Ksante. Pop Blossom gonna buy some space. Can he look for another reset? No, because River is there for the re-engage and the counter reinforcements. APA, nice two-man roof. Can he find at least one more damage down? But Gori stays alive as River cleans him up.
Cute play initially out of Team Liquid there, disguising themselves as Pyosik, so you think it's just the clone and the actual Neeko, but it's a real champion, two real champions running up there together. They took too long to kill Ksante though, like you said, using the ult as an escape, separating himself from APA, buys time for Golden Guardians to collapse and find that kill.
Summit doesn't have flash, so he can't really threaten Gori here, and River's just gonna press the assault here. Glacial Prison right on top of him. Leap Strike gets away to safety. He's gonna have to wait for Pyosik to come on in. Turret is still under fire as Stixxay is laying waste to the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, but a 4 TP from APA. Do they spot this TP? I don't think they have yet. APA would have to wait for Huhi, and now Huhi tries to dash on over to safety. Battle Dance and Grand Entrance expunged. APA looking for the flash, but that's a flash out of Gori in response. Stixxay joins the fight on over as Pyosik flashing forward. He just wants the first reset, and now he hits the Rakan. Can he look for a Grand Entrance? Gets in range, another reset, looking for Stixxay. He's forced to use the Featherstorm as he goes into the air. He gets out alive. A lot of pressure in the way of Team Liquid.
Barely able to escape there from Golden Guardians. Despite being 5,500 gold up, this is scarily close for some of these skirmishes where Team Liquid is kind of dragging them into sticking around too long. Summit's really low underneath the turret. He's walking back forward for a Sunder or a proc and baiting Golden Guardians there.
Yeah, I think TL was kind of absorbing pressure well there. Golden Guardians went a bit too greedy, I would say. Now Licorice is stuck under the bot lane tower, but he has the TP with Gori here, so...
All out from Licorice, knowing that Summit still doesn't have flash. Nice knockup from the Q3. Gori has the damage. The Counter-Strike can give him a little bit more relief, and he gets out alive! And Yeon was looking for the Killer Instinct, but does not manage to find the Void Seeker for the play.
Well, they might not be done chasing the play yet. Pyosik has the inside track potentially through the river here.
He spotted flash from CoreJJ, doesn't find the mark. Pyosik thinking about disengaging this one. The rest of Golden Guardians are...
No flash, no ult on Pyosik.
Yeah, I don't think he can get out of this one. He's going to get stunned up by River, and Huhi can just look for the quickness into the charm, knocking him up, looking for Yeon instead. That's the target, the Blast Cone! He's forced to use the Killer Instinct, but Gori jumps right on back, and it's not enough to save Yeon as Gori finds the reset again and jumps to safety. The rest of Golden Guardians have this fight on their own terms. Nice knockup from Huhi, saves Gori again. Here comes APA, 3-man Pop Blossom, but where's the damage? Golden Guardians has tons in supply, and they have turned this whole series around with that fight.
Golden Guardians looking like they might find their first win in the series, up 7,500 gold now. Summit's trying to give them the run around, but it is just pathing them straight towards Baron. Again, Team Liquid trying to punish the overstay, but this time they're the ones who are caught out.
Yeah, Pyosik has no flash, no ult. I think it was just a bit too much. After Core misses the hook, I think they just have to get out instantly. And I really like this Blastcon hit here on Yeon. He's forced the Killer Instinct over, but then Gori has to jump as well, so kind of a nice fight here from Golden Guardians, punishing TL when they're overextended.
It's also crazy, again, how if Pyosik just was able to land that ultimate onto Gori, he probably gets his first reset on Tristana. Maybe it ends up a little bit closer when APA shows up as well. Maybe he can jump back in on Stixxay, but at the end of the day, the gold lead is just becoming too much. Bit of a wallet diff showing up in these fights.
Yeah, and APA needs to be there at the start of the fight, just like in the last game when they got the turnaround moments. He needs to have the big AoE ult to kind of set up for the resets, but he wasn't really in the fight. He came with a late Pop Blossom, he got a 3-man, but it didn't really matter. And obviously now the Baron on GG, I think the push gets really easy. I want to see them play on 2 lanes. I think they can get a lot of structures if they play that way. Top lane tier 2 is the only one up, so I expect Licorice to kind of push this bot wave and then shift up with his team or just TP up as well.
Yeah, more stability and composure is being shown here through Golden Guardians in this game 3, where literally match point for Team Liquid, but they are not letting that dissuade them whatsoever. And we find Team Liquid being the ones in a little bit of a desperation attempts, as multiple times they were trying to find these picks, but it just keeps resulting in Golden Guardians further and furthering their lead ahead.
Golden Guardians in a very good position with this Baron now. Like you said, they are kind of playing 3 lanes. They have Ksante still splitting the bot side. Does have his teleport to last if he wants it, and it seems like they've decided they agree with you, Treats. They're actually just calling the Ksante up mid to just play through these 2 lanes and get a little bit more pressure. They do have most of the outer and inner turrets already cracked, so it's a little bit harder to get an early gold advantage with this Baron, because there's only the one top side to break open before you start working on Nexus turrets, or inhibitor turrets.
With the Tristana, though, I do think they can break the top inhib tower. I think they just need to commit.
Oh, nice dodge from APA. He has the Pop Blossom and gets Buster Shotted out to safety. APA managing to survive that encounter.
And broke his ankles there, making him ult after the wrong target. Ends up with his ultimate on top of the rest of the Golden Guardians, but still force low and still plenty of health on them, so Golden Guardians continuing to siege up around this top side turret.
Dragon is spawning in 50 seconds as well, so it's kind of the debate here. Is it worth to get this top inhib tower for Dragon? I would say if I'm on Golden Guardians, I think I just look for this and base instantly. I don't go for the inhib. I think the tower is doable if they want to, but then just base and get to the Dragon as soon as possible to deny the soul condition for TL.
Right, and it's coming up in 30 seconds, but they say go, and they find Pyosik, forcing him to flash. APA low on HP as he actually gets taken out. Golden Guardians being able to press this assault on further. CoreJJ is the next target on the line. No flash, but Pyosik finds the first reset onto Huhi. Looking for the grand entrance, but gets pushed out. Can he find another one on Gori? Now he's the Tristana. Maybe he can do some major damage. Yeon finding the killer instinct as well into Stixxay. And Team Liquid within the defenses of their base. They have found a way to withstand the pressure of Golden Guardians, and they might just have the numbers to look for that dragon you were talking about, Treats.
Yeah, once again, Golden Guardians a bit too eager to end this game. I think they can play it a bit safer and just get the tower and get out, but they're looking for the dive. It looks pretty clean from Huhi, but they didn't have the damage, and the tower was doing a lot back.
Oh boy, do you believe in the Pyosik magic? I was saying, it's been a couple fights in a row now that despite the gold lead, he was really close to resetting through them. He finally gets one here. The initial attempt to blow up APA goes very well for them, but it costs Xayah her ultimate, and so there's not really that many defensive tools left for the actual backline members. And then this rocket jump forward is Pyosik just eyes bug out of his head going, oh, that's a free kill. And once he gets that first one, they can go forward again. They get the second onto Gori, knowing that the enemy team is kind of trapped in their base.
And now TL is on soul point as well. They get the Dragon from this, which is absolutely huge. I think without the Dragon win con, it's actually kind of hard for them to actually win the game and end the game.
Yeah.
But now with the 3 Dragons and potentially a 4th one on the horizon, they can see a win condition out of this game.
And it's Infernal Soul tool that's on the line. If Team Liquid snag that, then it's a huge power boost, which allows for extra burst, which more reliability for Pyosik to look for those resets, which has been the story of this series. He's played Viego every single game, and in their darkest hour, they find a moment for Pyosik to just rip through these fights.
It also gives time for Yeon to scale up and grab his 3rd item here. We always talk about that with the Kaisa. Going for the Rage Blade here. You know, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it if you want to go like a little bit more burst with the AP build, given that you're just going to be ulting backline and blowing somebody up. But I guess it does give a little bit more reliability to punch through the double tank topside for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, he feels like he needs to kill the tanks. I don't think that the build matters that much this game. I think that him doing a bit more damage to their frontline probably is good, so they can actually kill the Ksante, because there might be a world where they kill Gori, for example, who just bought a Guardian Angel. He definitely doesn't want to die anymore. But in general, I think if Golden Guardians just plays to survive, they'll win. I think they're having kind of the wrong mindset in a lot of plays where they're looking to go for the kill instead of surviving. Like for example, on the top inhib, I think if Gori just hits the inhib tower with his bomb, they would just get it for free, but instead they look for the dive. So I think it's kind of like the last game where they just have to chill out a bit and reassess their win conditions.
Yeah. Golden Guardians haven't completely thrown the lead. They were up 9,000, only down to 8,000 still. Momentum still in their favor. But a glimmer of light for Team Liquid, knowing that they can still turn around this game potentially.
I definitely still want to see Golden Guardians being aggressive, though. I agree about, like, when you are fighting, maybe don't go full send on it because you are double marksman. But I think, you know, sometimes momentum is a really hard thing to quantify when you're in-game. It's easy for us as spectators, 8,000 gold lead. They should still keep pushing like crazy. But after you almost int the game away right there, you start becoming a lot more cautious. So I like seeing Golden Guardians not actually sitting on the back foot, continuing to escort these minion waves in, keep TL confined to their base. Because if you do that, it becomes a lot harder for them to get wards out for flanks. And so you don't actually want to ease up off the gas too much, and it's good to see them not being scared just because one fight didn't go their way.
Yeah, I agree fully. I think not being scared is a very big one. They're still pushing in for vision and kind of looking for aggressive options, but I think it's the difference of like looking for the execute and looking for the fight to start. I think that's the difference they have to make in their head and kind of just play to start the fight instead of just a one-shot target, because that's what TL wants to do, right? And they're playing a way more safe and kind of disengagey comp.
Yeah. Almost seemingly wanting to bait Team Liquid to over-aggress forward, then you can fully commit the rest of your resources. Now, Golden Guardians, as you already pointed out, a lot of the vision made in their favor on this top side of the map. Very difficult for Team Liquid to get their way into the Baron buff, but Pyosik and CoreJJ are going to take the risk. And no one is there really to punish. 2,000 HP, it's burned instantly by Golden Guardians. Now Team Liquid have to get out. CoreJJ might just sack his life to make sure the rest everyone can get out. Huge pop blossom. Can they
Gori's dead.
Gori, GA is popped. Yeon onto the back, but he finds Stixxay. He finds his moment. And Yeon is now surrounded by Licorice, but he can rejoin with the rest of the fight. Pyosik is still looking for resets. Summon saves Yeon with the counter strike. Golden Guardians, no way. How does this keep happening? Team Liquid being able to turn things on their heads. River's still alive. He was already used the flash, but Team Liquid, despite losing the Baron, found multiple members in this fight as Gori TP's right back in. Someone looking for the counter-strike. Yeon is still low, so he has to be careful. There's a looming flank in the works. Huhi looking for the flash. Grand entrance running to Pyosik. Can he not find the resets? He gets stunned! Golden Guardians take out the light that Team Liquid were looking for, and they aced them.
Team Liquid wanted to wipe all the Baron buffs off the side of Golden Guardians. That's why they were sticking around. They thought they could kill Gori and start getting resets for Pyosik again, but the bomb last-second detonation blows up the clumped-up members of Team Liquid who were just too low. But again, another fight, very close.
Yeah, I think Golden Guardians in this fight as well, they can play it way slower. I think they're going way too far forward. And look at Stixxay, he's just out of position on the left side. No one is helping him. Summit's just running him down, and then obviously Kaisa flying in, finishing him off as well. It's really huge, but I think GG should be happy with the Baron and then kite back. And if TL fights into you, then you can fight. But they're looking for the engage and the objective. They're trying to have their cookie and eat it too, so...
Yeah, the split battle lines also gave them easy access to pop Gori's GA at the start of the fight, which is normally the concern when it's like you focus with down one AD carry, the other one's pelting you. But because it was split, they got both people down low. Here, you can see what they're thinking. If I can get on top of Gori and kill him, we can potentially take all these Barons off. They're pretty low, but Gori has reset, heal, TP back in, and was able to survive just long enough. I think that E missed actually by Summit. He flash reacted to Huhi's W to avoid getting knocked up so he could reactivate the stun, but I think that flash actually took him out of range, gave Gori the DPS he needed to finish them all off.
And throughout all this chaos, how is it that River is still stayed alive as they look for the engage on the Licorice? No flash burned by him. CoreJJ only using the tech splash. The rest of Golden Guardians pushing their way and sieging the bottom inhibitor tower. API getting caught up here as the rest of Golden Guardians just making the siege happen. I
really want Golden Guardians just to get the dragon, make it get rid of it, and just make sure that TL just can't randomly win a fight in the base and get soul. I think it's going to be pretty big, but GG, they're still very confident. They're going to run straight forward.
Running straight forward again. This time at least not jumping in, just letting some of the cannon creeps do the work on the bot inhibitor.
And Licorice is zoning off Summit, making sure that he doesn't have an easy angle. They find CoreJJ, knowing that he is a sitting duck here, gets one engage off and tries to walk away. They're able to bully River off, but it opens the window for the inhibitor to be taken, and Treats, I don't know if you're in Golden Guardians comms, but they might be following your wishes and going for that dragon.
Treats, do you want them to ult the Nautilus? Or would you just let them keep hitting the inhibitor?
I think it's better to keep hitting and then, and then having the fight go that way. I mean, at least that was fine. They got the inhib, right? They got what they came for with the dragon as well. I think they're just going to repeat it on top side. Look for a triple inhib kind of setup here. And obviously now no golden, what's it called? GA on Gori. GG, Gori, GA. A lot of Gs.
A lot of Gs there. Did end up giving that one up right away. I'm surprised he didn't just hold on to it and wait for the come back up.
I guess he wants to end the game right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see, like, this isn't that close to being over with how Team Liquid's been holding up a good base defense. I think, you know, he thinks... The argument is we're going to end the game in the next 5 minutes, and the GA will not come back up. Exactly. So I'll sell it and get more damage so I can end the game. That said, these have not been easy games for Golden Guardians, so maybe flush some gold down the toilet there. Either way, still looking pretty good.
They're still in the driver's seat for sure. They're basically outscaled the comp of TL now. Obviously, it doesn't mean a lot if TL finds a really good fight. APA has TP and he's getting his flash up as well, so we might see another big pop blossom by him as well. I think GG just really has to play a slow front to back and not get too ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
They can just wait and just let the minions kind of do the work on all 3 lanes. Summit has to be in bot lane and TP in, otherwise he can't really join.
Yeah, even with a 10,000 gold lead on their side, it doesn't seem like Golden Guardians can just seemingly walk it in. They have to still pay respect to the few win conditions that Team Liquid still have through the resets.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see if APA looks for the TP flank. There's a lot of wards behind Golden Guardians, so pushing up mid lane is very, very difficult on the side of GG.
You called it. They're pinging it right now. Now, is it a double TP? No, APA is already engaging onto the front line. Yeon is able to find the back line as well with the killer instinct, but Huhi and Stixxay are still alive, and Yeon falls, and Pyosik has nowhere to go for resets. He finds one onto Gori, and he's able to disengage it well, but now Summit has to find the kills and find the cleanup, but this just seems unwinnable for Team Liquid. Golden Guardians able to do away with 4 members, and with the Nexus in their sights, they're ready to take Game 3.
Golden Guardians bounced back big in Game 3. Felt like Team Liquid might have been headed for a sweep, but they're not done yet. Not ready to give up on the dream of Huhi making his 5th straight finals.
And 7-0-15 from River. What a monster game from him. He was everywhere. He played every fight really perfect. Good bounce back game from Golden Guardians. They showed at least patience in the end and had a really clean ending.
Golden Guardians taking Game 3 on their side. Being able to overcome the mental pressure that Team Liquid might have had on them in the first 2 games. But this could be the makings of a comeback for them. As you already called it, monster performance by River, the only player in the entire game that did not go down, choosing these moments to engage, knowing when not to sacrifice more than necessary, and could be the key for turning things around.
10 kills.